The ocean nourishes our bodies and our souls. It influences our weather, fuels economies, and connects distant lands. It is vast, deep, powerful, and mysterious. And it's in trouble. We depend on oceans to moderate our climate and filter pollution. We rely on the rich diversity of ocean life to supply us with food and medicines. Our oceans give us a place to play, to work, to rest, and to discover. Our oceans are in serious trouble, in a state of silent collapse, threatening jobs, cultures, coastal ecosystems, and marine life. Oceans are not as once imagined, inexhaustible resources, so vast that human activity can barely make a dent. There are very many major threats to the health of the ocean. First of these major threats is overfishing. The global fishing fleet is 2 to 3 times larger than what the oceans can sustainably support. In other words, people are taking far more fish out of the ocean than can be replaced by those remaining. The single best example of the ecological and economical dangers of overfishing is found in Newfoundland, Canada. In 1992, the once thriving cod fishing industry came to a sudden and full stop when at the start of the fishing season no cod appeared. Overfishing, allowed by decades of fisheries mismanagement, was the main reason for this disaster that resulted in almost 40,000 people losing their livelihood and an ecosystem in complete state of decay. It is not just the fish we eat that are affected. Each year, billions of unwanted fish and other animals like dolphins, marine turtles, seabirds, sharks, and corals die due to inefficient, illegal, and destructive fishing practices. Another major threat to our oceans is nutrient pollution. Unfortunately, the trash we see dirtying beaches and floating on the ocean's surface is just the tip of the iceberg. Much more lies unseen beneath the surface and far away on the open water. But that doesn't make it any less important. Take dead zones, which are the areas in the ocean of such low oxygen concentration that animal life suffocates and dies. There is also the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, also known as the Pacific Trash Vortex, which spans waters from the west coast of North America to Japan, collecting litter that ends up in oceans, seas, and other large bodies of water. The amount of debris in the Great Pacific Garbage Patch continues to grow because much of it is not biodegradable. Many plastics, for instance, do not wear down. They simply break into tinier and tinier pieces. Coastal areas are some of the most productive and biologically diverse areas on the planet. They're also the most densely populated. According to the UN, 60% of the world's population, more people than inhabited the entire planet in 1960, live within 60 kilometers of the coast. On top of this, 80% of all tourism takes place in coastal areas, with beaches and coral reefs amongst the most popular destinations. While people have lived in coastal areas for thousands of years, the enormous cities and megacities that have grown over the past 100 years have, unsurprisingly, quickly destroyed natural marine and coastal habitats. The damage doesn't end there. Tourism also plays a big part. Some hotel resorts empty their sewage and other waste directly into the water surrounding coral reefs and sensitive marine habitats. Recreational activities like careless boating, diving, snorkeling, and fishing also have a huge impact and have substantially damaged coral reefs in many parts of the world. Tourism can also add to the consumption of seafood in an area, putting pressure on local fish populations, thus contributing to overfishing. The ocean is already registering the impacts of climate change. One of the most visually dramatic effects of climate change is coral bleaching, a a stress response caused by high water temperatures that can lead to coral death. Recent years have seen widespread and severe coral bleaching episodes around the world, with coral mortality reaching 70% in some regions. After absorbing a large portion of the carbon dioxide released by human activities, the oceans are becoming acidic. The effect could be that fish, squid, and other gilled marine animals may find it harder to breathe, as the dissolved oxygen essential for their life becomes difficult to extract as water becomes more acidic. Rising temperatures can directly affect the metabolism, life cycle, and behavior of marine species. For many species, temperature serves as a cue for reproduction. Clearly, changes in the sea temperature could affect their successful breeding. The number of male and female offspring is determined by temperature for marine turtles, as well as some fish and copeds, which are tiny shrimp-like animals. Changing climate could therefore skew sex ratios and threaten population survival. The good news is that rapid action on a number of key issues will deliver real change and benefits for ocean systems and the people who depend on them. Some of the benefits could be reinstated in a relatively short period of time. Some first steps started back in July of 2010, when President Obama established the first ever U.S. national ocean policy.
Pollution endangers marine life. Overfishing threatens whole species, as well as the people who depend on them for food and their livelihoods. If we ignore these problems, if we drain our oceans of their resources, we won't just be squandering one of humanity's greatest treasures. We'll be cutting off one of the world's major sources of food and economic growth. I'm going to use my authority as president to protect some of our most precious marine landscapes, just like we do for mountains and rivers and forests.
This is a huge victory for everyone who treasures the wonder of the seas, who values ocean life, who flocks to the beach, who loves seafood, and who makes a living on or from the water. A number of states have been moving to protect their marine resources, which typically extend about 3 miles from shore. California, Massachusetts, and New York have passed ocean protection laws that set out a state conservation policy and create overarching councils to help implement that policy and coordinate the ocean work done by various state agencies. One issue we must deal with is the end of the destructive practices that are slowly killing our oceans. The most effective way to stop pollution in our oceans is to make sure it never reaches the water in the first place. We all need to do our fair share to stop pollution. Individuals need to recycle and never litter, but producers of single-use plastic packaging need to do more too. We need producers to design packaging so that it is fully recyclable, so there is less waste. We also need producers to help cover the costs of keeping their products out of the ocean. Reducing the waste of water in irrigation and water supply systems would help maintain higher flow rates in rivers and thus reduce nutrient pollution. Improved sewage treatment can substantially reduce nutrient input. Another way to help our oceans is to create underwater parks. For more than a century, America has been protecting its most vital and beloved landscapes as national parks. Grizzly bears roam through Yellowstone and Glacier National Parks without fear of hunters. Sequoias live to be 1,000 years old in the Sequoia National Park, and bald cypress thrive in the Florida Everglades. However, the fish, coral reefs, and kelp forests of our oceans receive almost none of these protections. Less than 1/100th of 1% of U.S. waters are fully closed to oil drilling, mining, fishing, or other industries that take a devastating toll on ocean life. Research shows that protected ocean areas harbor more fish, bigger fish, healthier habitat, and more diverse life than unprotected areas. And these safe havens have a spillover effect as abundant marine life begins to populate waters beyond the borders of the reserve. These healthy intact ecosystems will become even more important as the ocean is stressed by global warming and ocean acidification. The oceans are in trouble. Without a healthy ocean, our future prosperity, quite possibly life on Earth as we know it, is in jeopardy. It may be because of its mysterious nature and appearance of infinity has made the ocean subject to relentless exploitation. Whether you live on the coast or far from it, whether you eat seafood or not, you and the future of all those you love depends on healthy oceans. The ocean is bigger than all of us, and yet each of us can affect it via our actions. We are at a crossroads in history, and the actions we take or fail to take in the next decade will decisively impact the future of our seas and of our planet.